Hey, dude, man, play this shit right here, man. Play this.
Peace and black power. We are right here again, Boston, Massachusetts. All right, we're continuing our tour and journey throughout my hometown. Specifically, we're in the Roxbury section, and I find it very incumbent on my behalf to introduce everybody, okay, all our viewership, okay, to another brother in Boston, Mass, who is an activist, a brother who has been on the ground for years, a brother who I find is a very articulate and intelligent brother, and whose critique and his analysis of things I do respect, and not only that, have learned from over the years. So what I want to do, my brother, is give you an opportunity to introduce yourself to the viewership for the House of Consciousness, specifically Baba TV, which you know is fire every time. Tell them who you are, what you're about, what it is that you do, and what is your vision for black liberation.
Absolutely. All right. So my name is Jamarhl Crawford, right here from Roxbury, Boston activist, organizer, the types of things that I deal with a lot around criminal justice, police reform, specifically around police brutality and killings. And then later on picked up the gamut of a bunch of different stuff that our people are going through, obviously mass incarceration, all that, but a bunch of other stuff as well, like hunger, housing insecurities and, politics and so on and so forth. So one thing led me into other. But, I'm a child of here, hip hop, all that. I was born in the early 70s. I'm about to be 46 years old. So I come from that same generation that saw the tail end of the Black Power movement off of the tail end of the Civil Rights movement and whatnot, and then on into the Black Arts movement, and then on into, what we then got hip hop and everything else. So it was like, it was a wild ride. And right here in Boston being one of the epicenters that a lot of people don't know about as a epicenter of arts, I was immersed in a bunch of stuff that is very unique. And as we know from the movie, Denzel Washington, playing Malcolm X, only 45 minutes or an hour drive from here is where Plymouth Rock landed on us. And literally 4 blocks down the street is Dale Street, where is the Malcolm X house. And shout out to Rodnell Collins, who is the nephew of Malcolm X.
Shout out.
Who you should also interview, who wrote a book and maintains the Malcolm X house in the memory of the aunt, Malcolm's aunt, his mother, Ella Collins. To this day, they just did some rehab and whatnot. So we're in this thing. In terms of the vision for black liberation, it gets deep, and this is where we're gonna go into the future conversation, because I ain't no guru. So my vision for liberation may not be your vision for liberation. There's a couple of things I can tell you for certain that you might want to be concerned about. Let's start off with easy stuff. Study and research. We be talking about other planets and other, this, that, the other, and people talking about stuff, and you can't even really spell it. You can't really explain it in logical terms. And so what we need to do is first basically hone down on study and research, though, so that we know what we're talking about. That's number one. Number two, then there's a bunch of stuff that everybody should know. If you can, if you have a family, or if you're an individual, you should know a little. You don't have to have a green thumb, but you should know a little bit about growing a plant and or farming. Those are very different things. You can grow a plant in your house. Farming, tilling the soil and all that, these are types of things you may want to know about. You may want to know about some basic self-defense. You may want to know about some basic weapons training. You may want to know about how to purify water. You may want to know how to magnetize something to make a compass, survival skills. And not for nothing, nowadays with all the stuff we're watching, while you're watching Real Housewives of Atlanta or whatnot, you might want to turn on Survivor Man or something. It might be a little bit more beneficial, albeit still fodder. So there's certain things that I think that everybody should know. You should know how to fish, all right? You should know about how the sun rises and sets, basic navigation. Certain things you should just know about. A map, certain things. So in any event, continents, basic geography, basic world history, so on and so forth. So many schools of discipline, basic math. And you don't have to be a genius or proficient in any of these areas. No one is saying that you have to be, the Albert Einstein, to use a white man, in any of these areas. But you should have a basic knowledge, and that helps for the conversation that we're going to get. Because the more you know, the harder it is for somebody to trick you. Okay? Because when somebody comes along with something that seems like magic to you, you can demystify it. Okay? So that. And then the other thing for liberation is the old, basic, we've already covered this with black nationalism and everything. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We're talking about land ownership. We're talking about self-determination. We're talking about redefining for ourselves our ideologies of who is God, or what does God look like if you want God. We're talking about cooperative economics, or the principles of Kwanzaa, even though we can go in on to the creator of Kwanzaa. But we're talking about the principles of Kwanzaa, the principles of black nationalism, and have held to the highest ideals. People like the Republic of New Africa, who said we're going to set aside these 5 lower states, because of our blood, sweat, and tears, we are owed that, and that is going to be our thing, and we're going to manage it, and we're going to do agriculture, we're going to do defense, we're going to do infrastructure, we're going to do hospitals and schools, and we have to get off of this stuff of what is happening now. So my plan for liberation is not even really my plan. It's a combination of what has been done before, the National Black Political Convention that happened in Gary, Indiana, work that has been done since then, Minister Farrakhan, brains way bigger and glorious than mine have already figured this out. So we don't need to do the what are we going to do stage. Now it's the implementation stage, and we can't take our eyes off the ball with the other people that are going to have you over the hill and over the dale. So that's my intro.
Oh, man.
Welcome to Boston. Which we call Bosstown, Massachusetts.
Hey, my man. As you can see, my brother over here is very prolific with his observation and his analysis of things on a socio-political, economic, cultural level, and that's good. And this is what the people need, For people that have been asleep so long, which our people are a product of the conditioning that they are, fit that description of a people who are in a deep sleep. For people in a deep sleep, in order to wake them up, you have to shake them up. You can't just whisper in their ear. You can't just put the alarm on snooze. You see, we're getting a lot of wake-up calls. The trumpet of truth shall be blown as a statement that has divine power to it to some, or magnetism to it to some, and nonetheless has a prolific or some kind of resonant relevance to people. A trumpet. The word trump is in that. Not to sound spooky. I'm not saying there's no metaphysics behind it, but let's put it in, use our own creativity that we have the ability to do as thinking human beings. A trumpet is what was used to blow to wake people up. Now Trump is in office. The wake-up call is coming. The final call has a trumpet on the front of it.
That's right.
The trumpet of truth shall be blown to wake you up, to those who are dead. And we are dead along many lines that we need to be shooken up in order to be waken up. I believe that many of us represent that component of the shaken in order to awaken dynamic. I do believe that you are a part of that. I do believe many people on other paths and in other schools of thought from different platforms, such as the House of Consciousness, which Baba TV, which is fire every time, is a representative of. We are House of Consciousness. We are live, and this is our debut in Boston. But there is a lot of points of contention that many people have with many of the teachers and leaders and representatives, if you will, that are on the platform. I believe that the platform serves a purpose because consciousness is in many layers. There are many different lanes, and that we need unity without uniformity, meaning we have to have principled unity. I believe Sonetta represents a nucleus of that, regardless of people's critique of him, which people are definitely entitled to. But for him to have a platform, the Hebrew Israelites have a platform that not everybody can come on and talk in the community on their platform. Many grassroots organizations have a platform that not everybody in every layer and every tier of ideology and spiritual groups or movements can represent on those platforms, okay? Our platform, however, Black nationalists, Pan-Africanists at the core, me being the spokesman for the House of Consciousness, Sonetta being the leader, the founder of that, okay? I want to know and just test the pulse of the people here in Boston, because this is what we do on the ground. We like to get the perspective of the people. We want to know, because a lot of people have points of contention, the debates. They're not good. Many of the characters are too controversial. They label us as characters. This is what the people say. I see us as teachers, as scholars, and these students of life still learning and evolving at the core of it all.
Right.
I want to know if any point of contention that you have, what is it? And tell us the pros and the cons that you see that the House of Consciousness, presents for the people, and why.
All right. So let me start off with this one, and it's actually funny. I know Sonetta from VCR tapes.
Okay. It's the throwback.
All right. From getting VCR tapes of, Dr. Khaled and all this on trips to New York and whatnot. So the first thing, let me just say this. Sonnetta's consistent. That must be said. So, you got a lot of fly-by-night, comers and goers. I have to say that Sonetta has been consistent with this thing that he's been holding on to. So the one thing that could be said about Sonetta is that, he's been consistent. And I know him back from VCR tapes, going to New York, and you get the Dr. Khaled on VCR or whatnot. And then later on, when they had various events at some various, stores or restaurants or whatnot. And even, in fact, the main night I remember this is after the passing of Dr. Khaled, when the new Black Panther Party at the time was going around, particularly in New York, and revealing the results of the investigation of the death of Dr. Khaled and whatnot. So, I have to say, consistency. Now, I haven't always agreed with positions that Sonetta has taken or people that the House of Consciousness via Sonetta has promoted. But that's all to say that, obviously it ain't my thing. So all I can say is, as a guy who's conscious, but also from the street, and watching this, I can say that some of it shocked me in a way that I find it not appealing to me, because it looks like a show. It's too much. But that's just me. I'm a regular dude, so I'm not into I've never wore no dressed up regalia in my life. I'm not gonna do the whole extra stuff. We're not gonna do a whole bunch of tough talking on YouTube. So certain things that happen. And pardon. And let me, before you take the mic.
Let me get you.
Before you take the mic.
Okay.
That's not on Sarnetta.
Okay.
He didn't do those things.
Okay.
But I'm saying on the forum,
All right.
that what happened is the two participants, I'm Don King, I'm setting up a bout. These two cats might swing on each other at the weigh-in. And all I'm saying as a spectator and a fan of the sport, sometimes I was like, it wasn't the best look. That's all.
Black power, and you gotta respect your opinion, and you're and I respect your critique. Because one thing I can say about you, you're not just a person on the sideline with a critique. You actually, and I can attest to this, have body of work in the streets for many years and consistent. And you have actually done things in the community that have benefited people in the community and abroad in the city of Boston. So your critique is respected, but your critique is also subject to critique as well. So there's a couple of things that I want to say, like the tough talk or the extra regalia. See, Sarnetta's not doing nothing that nobody else hasn't done, even yourself. Because you remember Kill Whitey, that was the sticker, the logo. That's shouting it strong and loud. That's a cry of war, or can be perceived as such on behalf of your opposition. But that is a stance, and I respect that because we're supposed to take that stance.
Tough talk between two
Okay.
different brothers is what I'm talking about.
There will be black folks that come against you, right? And it can be perceived as tough talk on their behalf on what they agree, a point of contention in regards to what, because the bourgeoisie element does exist. The street unconscious or super unconscious with hardcore nigger values, I call it, and that's a state. That's because of condition, and our people are not animals. We are subject to a certain kind of conditioning which can be reversed. That's what the whole point of this knowledge and these meetings are about. So, like, putting it into perspective, we all have stood strong. We've worn regalia. You was a member of the new Black Panther Party, the chairman of the Boston chapter, where you had the regalia, you had the long dreads, you were suited and booted. You were subject to scrutiny on two ends of the pendulum. The Caucasian, the politician who sees you, who's watching you, the law enforcement who's watching, who's in opposition to you, and the black bourgeoisie, and then the super unconscious dynamic and element. You're a minority within a minority, but you took a strong stance. Only thing between you and Sarnetta is his is being documented on film. Do you agree or disagree with that? Because contention is inevitable.
Absolutely. So once again, I want to reiterate. So first of all, that was less of a critique of Sarnetta personally, and more as when if Sarnetta is Phil Donahue, now we're talking about who's the guest you have on your show. Okay, so that's one. But let me address some factual points. So one, when I was talking about, in terms of the conflict and the tough talk, I'm talking about one person going against each other. I make a video saying Kofa ain't nothing. Man, I don't like that move. You know what I mean? All that. That's what I'm talking. And then you make a video, Jamarhl ain't nothing. That's the type of stuff I'm talking about when I say that type of thing. So I wasn't talking about just generally people having problems with a particular issue, as Kill Whitey was. It was an issue. It was not a condemnation on an individual. Then the other thing, in terms of regalia. So I would consider that what happened with me, at least, is that I joined an organization and I took on the mandated, a paramilitary organization at that, and took on the mandated uniform of that organization. I was never, I hated uniforms. This is the first group I've ever joined in my life because I'm such a non-conformist. But I did that, wore it with pride, the whole sheboinkin'. But when I was saying regalia, and I want to be very careful in my words, and this is why I need to be more careful before I even say stuff like this. When I say regalia, what I'm saying is that when I'm sitting with my conscious friends, if I'm in all black, basically black army fatigues with a red, black, and green lapel pin and they can kind of understand that. If this is gonna sound messed up, and I'm not trying to besmirch anybody, if what I have on looks like something that is not normally for the normal hood people, then it begins to look cartoonish, buffoonish, superhero-ish, wrestler-ish, and at least for me, it ain't for me. But people could do whatever they want. But none of that critique was for Sarnetta, and the main thing was the conversations and the debates and stuff that has happened. I didn't find all those as helpful with this philosophy versus this philosophy, and Captain So and So versus Mister So and So. It reminded me very much of Vince McMahon and Don King, and I just I as a spectator just looking at it on YouTube, it turned me off.
And everybody's entitled to their opinion. You have to respect that opinion.
It was great though. I couldn't stop watching.
But you know what? I like to look at the pros and the cons of everything, because there's nothing's absolute in the universe. And I look at it like this. If I was to look at what comes out of debate on a positive and constructive level in contrast to the negative, I would say from my personal experience and from my experiences of what people told me about their personal experiences, have been mostly productive, and people have globally, because this platform is not local, it's not just an around the way thing, and with technology now, and with a real good vision, and with a commitment to that, you can put things on the table, and everything that you put on the table is going to be subject to critique, and rightfully so. But if I would have to gauge the positive from the negative and what comes out of that, I think what he's doing is good because he's raising the bar of consciousness. He's drawing the attention. Our people are products of being so conditioned. Hip-hop, the message in hip-hop, because you understand what the rap is not just words. They're casting spells. Our people are all under all kinds of delusions and illusions, spiritual indoctrinations and enslavements, social and political and deprivation of things that have made them internalize certain kind of racist ideas and viewpoints that others have of them within themselves. So I believe that a platform that goes hard to address critical topic matter that are very controversial, that deal with levels of politics, religion, historicity, and our people are engaged yet divided along these lines of these things, for somebody to have a platform that brings them all to the table in real time to dialogue about these things is positive. Now, we have people like, I don't see a lot of people that are really grassroots and that are soldiers for the cause and the advancement of our people, enough of us anyway, go at Jesse Peters. How come nobody goes at Jesse Peters? Huh? He hates black people, and he has a bigger platform than Sarnetta's. He has bigger funding from corporations than Sarnetta, that a lot of your tax dollars go into supporting. You're financing your own oppression from people that hate you, but you don't even want to support somebody who wants to do this for free for your own, like you know what I'm saying, contributing to a van. You know what I mean? So we have a lot of things. What about Reverend James Dave Manning, who has a church right in Harlem? Huh? Called Atla, where he teaches condemnation and hatred of black people. Okay? Hold up. Where is the people in the outcry in the community who are serious about people being misled? Now, see, with Sarnetta as a person that's out there, a lot of people, there's a difference between a revolutionary and a character under the auspices of a revolutionary who are using a great noble cause of liberation to really empower themselves if they're self-centered and to make themselves enjoy the riches and wealth which can come from that, by exploiting the ignorance, okay, or the zeal and the sincere desire of the people. So when the people are not really addressing other things in the community, this is how I gauge how real they are when they go at Sarnetta. This is a general perspective too. Do you go at other institutions in the community that are against the community at large? Do you really fight white supremacy? Are you raising the consciousness and the bar of the people? What are you doing in the community on a consistent level, okay? And then besides going at this platform, because they were real bourgeoisie, boule, neo-reconstructionists, puppet niggas on the scene that we act like they're under the radar, but we see Sarnetta in the House of Consciousness, and I think we should see the value in what we're doing because there's not too many doing it, and it's long overdue. And for people that have been sleeping for so long, and I say it again, in order to wake them up, you got to shake them up. And in order to shake them up, you're going to have to attack critical subject matter and controversial issue and reach the people where they're at. We're still growing and evolving. I think the best is yet to come. Absolutely. But we're doing a great thing as we stand now on our square. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's great, and the platform is going on, and, I got 5 on it. But But real talk, though, I just want to stick to that point because the critique is really not a critique or a condemnation of the platform.
I'm talking about the general, yeah.
Right, and see, and what I'm saying is, it's almost like if y'all seen on CNN recently, where all this time, of course, Trump, now Trump wins, but they went back and they did a focus group or whatever with I think it was like 8 Trump supporters. And so you do realize that unicorns aren't real, right? No, unicorns are real, man. I mean, they don't care, bruh. And what they're talking about has no basis in reality, and you're not going to be able to stop them people. So what has to happen is then CNN has to be the fact checker to say, yeah, but no, unicorns are not real. So all I'm saying is that my critique is that the platform is great. Sonnet is good. Kudos to the brother. Once again, Captain Consistency. The problem is that some people who have got on the platform and benefited from the platform have not really spit that real spit to the people. And some of the stuff, some of it's helpful, and different people find consciousness in different ways. Mm-hmm. And if you find it under a rock or if you find it in the penthouse, great. I just hope you find it. But I also hope that you don't find a polluted, diluted, misconstrued, willy-nilly version of consciousness that got you on some other thing. And that's where I worry. And now that's what you brought up in terms of the level of the people that we're dealing with now who may be in leadership or teaching positions or whatnot. I don't want to besmirch any of them. What I want for us to do as a people is to be able to develop a criteria by which we know you either meet this or you don't. Mm-hmm. Okay? And then it's not so much about like who gets the attention. It's about who doesn't. So God rest her soul now, Frances Cress Welsing, Dr. Welsing, right? She passes on. Okay, so like I'm not willing to substitute Tariq Nasheed and Umar Johnson for Frances Cress Welsing. Nor am I to substitute their regurgitations of, Dr. Claude Anderson on the economic tip or Neely Fuller or like any of the stuff that they crowdsource to use that, we're making a smoothie. So we'll take a couple strawberries, we'll take some blueberry, we're going to throw it in the blender. Zzz, you ain't made none of that. You ain't made none of it. So if I'm into a hardcore Nation of Islam doctrine, right? Then I'm not substituting for Pookie X. Mm-hmm. I'm going to get it from Elijah Muhammad. There's still tapes and audio out there, correct? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm going to get it from there, or I'm going to get it from Farrakhan. Or I'm going to get it from early Malcolm X, if I'm into that. If I'm into some African history doctrine, I'm going to get it from John Henrik Clarke. I'm going to get it from Dr. Ben. I'm going to get it from Asa Hilliard, Ishaka Musa Barashango, Runoko Rashidi, Ivan Van Sertima, so on and so forth. I don't need you, Tyrone Pookie Poo, who just came on the scene and you got a YouTube channel and you giving me your weak rendition of the books that you half read. I don't like that, particularly not while it's still available. We didn't experience the fall of Pompeii and all of our information got lost in lava and it's all ashes. We still got it. So the fact that some people want me to substitute the Fucci for the Gucci, it just ain't gonna happen, bruh. And I know too much, whereas though it becomes a point where the more you know, you become kind of cursed. It's like when I first got consciousness, some of the first things that happened was I lost a lot of women. Because you know what? I wasn't fun no more. You can't watch a movie because you're seeing every little nuance in the thing.
That's right.
We still filming?
Yeah, he's still filming.
Okay. Pause. Okay. So I'm saying, I lost a lot of women. Because, now, fun watching a movie. You see Terminator's no longer Terminator. You know what I mean? You're going through every little nuance. And she's like, damn, I just want to watch the movie. Yeah. But now you overanalyzing and examining stuff. And this is the type of stuff that we're dealing with now, right? where people's brains are now open to new concepts and whatnot, and everybody's thinking about these things, and it's cute for some of us who just got into it, but for those of us who've been around for a long time, and now too, when you edit this, one thing I would ask y'all to find this clip from Dr. Khalid from the conference that they had called the Gathering of the Masters. You remember this? Did you see this video? So the Gathering of the Masters was a big conference, and it was Dr. Khalid and everybody who was anybody who's dropping science at the time. And it was like, oh, geez, this is before all the, the current cast of characters, right? So one of the, I'll give you an example. Bobby Hemmett was there. Okay.
I remember that.
Okay.
I remember that.
So Dr. Khalid, kind of in a chastising kind of way, was just like, I love y'all, but y'all got to stop with all this, we come from Mars and, his name is Laws, and you know what I mean? All this type of stuff where he's like, yo, I don't want my pie in the sky. I want mine on the ground while I'm still around. And a lot of cats, we talk about spookism and all this type of stuff, but a lot of cats is still really dealing with that, and not even spookism on the esoteric level, spookism on a real level where, check it out, I got money that you can't never see. I got imaginary money. I've been raising imaginary money forever, have no accounting of anything, and I think that's cool. Now, brother, if I stop this video right now, I could go up into my little box, pull out my envelope, and show you the money that we raised to feed people that I just distributed today with some little cans and box goods. And we've been doing this for a grip. And everybody who gave me, if you gave me $1, I can tell. Look, what's this box right here say? Donation. Because that's an old box we done already emptied out, and I kept the goddamn box. Because the box was valuable to me. Put some more stuff in it. You see what I'm saying?
I respect that.
So what I'm talking about is accurate and fair accounting. You say you're from another planet and you control UFOs. Can I see one? Do we get on one? You can change into another being. And I don't want to besmirch certain people because then people won't come and all this type of stuff. But there's certain spiritual figures and leaders who have claimed that they come from other planets.
Planet Risk?
That they can turn into, or that their true essence is a 9-foot tall reptilian being, and that individual is in jail right now. So now that would be a hell of a time to turn into that thing and jump over the fence, yeah? But somehow it never works out like that. And so what I'm saying is we got to get out of the spooky thing where I say, I'm a master Moor, I'm sovereign. These laws don't apply to me, but I'm in jail on a driving warrant.
That's right.
And can't get out. So you mean your whole thing, you got the global, national, multinational thing figured out, but you mean the state of New Jersey, you put a crimp in your whole thing, huh? Wow. That must not be a deep science. So my point is, for people like me who've been dealing with this for 20 and 30 years, my point is just quite simply this. What we need to give people is real, tangible results. And this is where we got to get back to the beginnings of black nationalism. The brothers who was doing it, the brothers who laid down the Republic of New Africa and the Black Panthers and the Black Liberation Army, if you notice, there was no spaceship, there was no other planet, there was no imaginary money. Kids got fed with real food. It wasn't, za-da-da-da. There were real survival trainings. There were real political education classes. And these people had a lot less wherewithal than a lot of these people do. Now, currently, cats is just getting guap off of YouTube channels now. Wow, that's great. Damn. Now, check this out. There's a Bible verse, and the Bible, whatever, the thing. But the Bible verse talks about, to whom much is given, much is required. Meaning that I give a lot, but I don't give it myself because I'm broke. So it's not like I make money and then I give money that I make. I do things and raise money, and then we give all that money away. Big difference, right? But
Sales too.
right, but it's real stuff. But the point is, if I was Lil Wayne, if I was Puff Daddy, then obviously the capacity of what you can give and what you could do is more. So if Jamarhl right now, me, myself, broke Jamarhl, pulls off a summer camp, basketball camp for kids, that's great. But if you're Puff Daddy and you do a basketball camp, it's like, you could have did a school. And now here's what we're talking about. Now we go to people like Dr. Umar's and all this, want to build schools and all this, and now we go back to the old platforms. Republic of New Africa already had plans because we're going to buy land and we're going to, do this land and so on and so forth. And what does land take? If you have land and you're going to live on it, you need somebody who's going to know how to build it. You need, you need people who can build infrastructure. You need hospitals. You need schools. You need electrical wires. You need phone. It's infrastructure. Who's going to take out the garbage? Right? You need maintenance. You need sanitation. You need plumbing. So it's a lot bigger than a lot of people is thinking. And it sounds cute to romanticize and Zada-da, revolution and all that. But at one time, there were people who really had studied it out and had it plotted to that degree. And that's what we need to get back on more so. We need to get off of all this jibber jabber and, who's slicker, who's cooler, blah, blah, blah. This I'm gonna call it battle rap of consciousness, WrestleMania of consciousness, and all this type of stuff. And we just need to get back on the work. So I'm interested in any of them brothers. I'm not hating on none of them. I will say this for people like Dr. Umar. I do need a brother like him. At this point, you've been asked 8,000,000 times. Just please do a public accounting of the money. It would silence a lot of people. It'd be better for you. It's like, I do consultations. So like, this is free consultation. It would behoove you yourself, not for me. It don't hurt me or help me at all. But if I was Dr. Umar, I would do a full and thorough accounting of whatever money has been done and make it public just to silence, and then we can move on from there. And if you failed or if you had a shortcoming, now would be a heck of a time to just say that. Just say it. Just do it. This is just real stuff. Okay. Second thing, you got somebody like Tyreek. I'm going to need Tyreek. Tyreek, I got a couple things for. One, we came up in hip-hop. No biting allowed. Stop regurgitating other people's work like you wrote it. 2, the pimpish stuff, we got to let that go, bruh. It's not conducive. Any scholar that's around, I got to feel like I can leave my daughter around you. If I feel like you're a slime ball and like on some pseudo Mako, I can't, you know what I mean?
That's the impression you get from Brother Tariq?
Well, I mean, that's what's out there on the thing. And so there's the pimp reflection, the king flex and all that. And of course, he go ad nauseum at this. He denies it and all that. Whatever. I'm not even trying to debate it. Myself and others, whether you meant it or not, did it or not, it's pimpish. Okay? And it's and I don't like it. And it's coonish too. Then we go into the new stuff. Then the other stuff is, the other side of the pimp coin is kind of the denigration of the black woman. Okay. When we talk about black feminism falsely named the black man as her sole oppressor and the cause of all her pain. Black woman, your number one problem is this black man. That's what that tainted, perverted strain of black feminism did. Not all black feminism. The tainted, perverted strain targeted the black man as against women. So now, to combat that, now we have a new, let's coin a term, masculinism, where now people like Tyreek are going to name the black woman as the sole origin of all the problems of the black man. It don't make good common logical sense, bruh. It don't make sense. The black woman cannot be the source of all of our problems and simultaneously be the solution to all of them. That's not science. You dig? So what I'm saying is that some of these cats, and I get it, everybody, you got your little shtick. You go down 125th Street, one brother's juggling, another one roller skates with fire, another one. Everybody got their own thing. It's real. It's cute. But at some point, we got to really come back to the fact of the matter and just do tangible results. So let me just give you an example. Here's a free Jamarhl Crawford consultation for all people out there. A lot of people talk about business. I'm looking at the camera now. A lot of people talk about business. Everybody out there, you listening to me, if you want to start a business right now, I want you to Google how to get an EIN number. E as in Earl, I as in, isotope, N as in Negress. EIN number. How to get an EIN number. You're going to see a whole bunch of stuff come up. Don't click on any of the links except the one that goes officially to the IRS.gov website. And if you go to IRS.gov, because they are the ones that give out the EINs, the other people just want to charge you for something that's free. Oh, damn, did I just explode the hose? That's the scam of what everybody's doing, trying to charge you for something that's free. Wow. So go there, you get your EIN number, right? Okay, you can call up on the 800 number, or you can go right online and do the online application, and you could have an EIN number in 15 minutes. What is an EIN number? As an individual, you have a Social Security number. Unless, of course, you're one of those special people who ripped up your Social Security card because you're in control of the globe. Fine. But for the rest of us who have Social Security numbers and have to pay bills and cash checks and stuff and have bank accounts, so you have a Social Security number. That's individually you. Fine. An EIN number is basically a Social Security number for a business. You're basically birthing a baby, a business, and giving it a Social Security number. And then you could put cable in the baby's name. All right? So that's a little free jewel. That took about, 30 seconds? You can get it via 800 number. You can get it via online. Once again, Google how to get an EIN number. Only do it from the IRS.gov site. You get it. That's how you start a business. Whatever your business is. I don't care. A lot of people crack. I don't care if you sell shea butter and incense. I do. Right? I do. I don't care what you do. You got a car wash. You got a car detailing service. You got a security service. Whatever you got, go do it. That's a free jewel right there. And you don't got to dress like me. I don't have to sleep with your 3 women. You don't have to give me money. I don't need to come to your fridge and eat your food up out. You don't need to donate your car to me. I ain't got to GoFundMe. None of that. That's a free jewel. There you go.
Okay. Hey, and that's the thing, because a lot of what we have to consider is that critique is one thing, and it's definitely necessary. That's how we kind of cross-examine what the problems are in order to kind of blueprint a solution.
Right.
Or a solution orientation. So the fact that you gave kind of a solution, because people want to become self-sufficient. Part of becoming liberated is being self-sufficient. So when you give what you just gave to the people, and make sure you definitely check it out there is something that those who are interested in becoming self-sufficient and endeavoring in business, they can use that resource if they already are not aware of that, and then they can start to really embark on different avenues and try to open up different doors. It's little doors that open up to bigger rooms. So information is always key. So you heard it right here from Brother Jamarhl Crawford. You know what I'm saying? Longtime activist. And when I'm saying activist, we have to understand one thing. The key word of activist is active. Activist. So it's an action in that. Some people are being an armchair scholar, or just being and having an analysis of or a critique of things. Although your critique may be rooted in some serious logic and scholarship, does not mean that you're you're an activist. Nor does it mean that you're a revolutionary. Being a revolutionary is one who is on the ground, or one who is really embarking on work that is causing complete constructive change. One thing I can say and attest to on behalf, because of the platform of the House of Consciousness, is this, and a critique is always definitely appreciated. Because in order to grow, you have to accept critique, because it's reevaluation, and you put things on the table, and you sit at the table with other highly intelligent brothers, and you open up things for dialogue in order to move forth as a collective with principled unity. So that's why these kind of builds are necessary, and the people need to see civil discussions on a level like that. But one thing I will say is it's definitely a revolutionary platform, in a sense that people who will come on the platform are not always just contentious or debating. We have debates where people just talking about metaphysics, talking about diet, talking about real estate, talking about homeschooling, charter schooling. You know, there's a plethora of information that comes from the platform. And being that we reflect the community and the community itself is in peril, the House of Consciousness, I think, is a greater good in that community, because at least in the conscious community, which is a reflection of the black community as a whole, which is in peril, even though we're dressed up or disguised, some people and a lot of people, under unks, under symbols, under rituals, and under facades, there is that dynamic of people who are sincere. People are who they are in this, who this path chose them more than they just chose it. And they're learning and evolving, and they're being who they are, yet in the process of becoming who they're destined to be on that journey. But within that reality, within that parameter of reality, okay, it is having more of a positive impact than negative. I think I can say that the House of Consciousness, from what I see, from the inside looking out, and from one who was once on the outside looking in, because I didn't just come up in the House of Consciousness. I didn't just become conscious and pop up like bread out of a toaster one day and then just see me on YouTube. My journey goes deep. I have videos out about me and my journey on YouTube that are years old now. And, you know, I go back. I go way back like car seats in this. You know what I mean? So my journey, I understood that even back then, there was a lot of division. You had Yahweh Ben Yahweh's group back then, even in Boston. Right. You had the Ansars. Right. You had the Hebrew Israelites were just starting to come in, the ISUPK groups and stuff like that back then. And there was no camaraderie. There was no united front. There was division. And there was a lot of, that was considered a conscious error in hip-hop and in the community. But still, there was no community organizing because we were still divided. So I think what not just this, but many other platforms are doing, which is kind of inevitable, because when you open it up for the people and the people are already divided perspectives or concepts that are in contention or in contrast with each other are inevitably going to show up on the radar of your platform. All you're doing is showcasing this, but in a controlled environment for, at the root of it, education and knowledge to be made known or manifest to the people, jewels to be dropped, for the people to reap. I think out of that, we have that. Our people are competitive in all that they do. We have to compete for their hearts and mind against an aggressive competitor who have not only captivated their minds, but have them in so much of a tight headlock. We got to go hard to break that headlock off of their head. It's going to take a little bit of controversy, a little bit of MFs and bitches. I'm not condoning it and saying I'm with it. But I think we have enough diversity in the community as far as different tiers, levels, frequencies, energies, different paths, levels of maturities, and wisdom in this platform where everybody has something to reach everybody at different light spectrums. Okay? A diamond has many facets.
So, you know, once again, absolutely. Now, I'm going to say this. There's the old saying that goes, that our people are hard to lead in the right direction and easily led in the wrong one, right? And that there's many sayings across many cultures and all that deal with that. You know what I mean? It's easier really to get somebody to do something wrong than it is to get them to do something that's right. You know, sometimes we've faced that with our own children, our relationships, and so it is in the community at large. So once again, everybody who's doing anything to raise the consciousness of the people, wonderful, God bless you, and keep on doing it. But some of us, in the words of that Dr. Khalid thing, we got to stop with a lot of this crazy talk that at the end we're not leading our people nowhere. So as long as it is, it could be hardcore, trust me. Yes, but it has to be tangible. So that's the thing that I'm talking about. It has to be tangible, all right? And earlier you brought up the song Kill Whitey. Great example. That was about the most at the time. I forget what even year that was. You're talking about like 96, X or something, but it was a long time ago.
So relevant.
But in any event, I made this song called Kill Whitey. My hip hop name is Uno the Prophet. And when I became into consciousness and conscious hip hop, whatnot, I've had the benefit of meeting a lot of people who, you know, I grew up like as a fan of, and throughout the work got to meet, you know. So Wise Intelligence and Brother J from X Clan, and, you know, Public Enemy, Griff, who's like, you know, the OG, and, you know, Chuck, and, you know, so on as Dead Prez, and, you know, so on and so forth. So, you know, it became this thing. But when I was exploring what I was doing in terms of, you know, conscious hip hop and whatnot, what I was bugged about was driving all across the country, places to places, and nigger was on the radio. And then it also, too, it wasn't just the word nigger on the radio, but it was like the descriptive way that they were talking about it. And so, really, I just came to the point that kill niggers was completely okay. And so then I came up with the reverse and said, well, I'm going to do this song called Kill Whitey, because I know as soon as I put the words kill and Whitey together, like we used to do them old cartoons, you know what I mean? You put them two words together with the bouncing ball or whatever, I knew that it was going to explode. And sure enough, it exploded before people even knew what the song was about. And what did I invent that phrase? Of course not. That was a throwback to the 60s revolutionary rhetoric that was coming out. Kill Whitey, off the pigs, and all this type of thing, right? So I took that, made the song, mixed it with a little bit of Eddie Murphy's Saturday Night Live, kill the white people, yeah, you know, and I made it a thing. But really what it was a parody and a satire to shove in the face of the industry and the general populace that, yeah, you don't like this kill Whitey thing, huh? But we supposed to take kill niggas every day, huh? I remember the song, it was Beanie Siegel. And, you know, I like Beanie Siegel. I like the song, whatever. But I just, you know, when you hear the descriptive language, he talks about he kicked in the door and a broad came out over here and he shot the woman a couple times, and then he heard a noise coming out of a crib and he popped in the baby's crib and shot the kid. I mean, he didn't do that to a family from Switzerland.
He ain't gonna either.
Right. That was a black family. So when you paint out that scenario, that screenplay there, that scene, cut that scene, right? That scene was a black actor going into a scenario and blasting everybody black. So kill niggers, it's not only when they were pushing this type of movement, it wasn't even that it was just a thing of kill niggers. It became so descriptive, it became instructional. So that if you did not know how to kill a nigger, I could take you from kindergarten to college in a song. Because I could tell you how to enter their apartment where you kick down the door with a 4-4. I've told you now the weaponry to use. We like 44s, we like 4.5s, we like 9s. You know, if we go old school with it, 80s, we like the Mossberg shotgun. You know what I'm saying? So now it was becoming so descriptive that it wasn't just that kill niggas was accepted. It was being described in terms where you could take home a do-it-yourself kit. So I made Kill Whitey. People to this day still don't get it. I just had an argument with it. I won't mention the person. He's a well-known hip-hop figure, kind of a critic. I'm not going to say anything other than say that he has a very different mindset from me and disagrees vehemently with the content of the song and the way that I presented it to combat that issue that I just described of the whole kill nigger thing. And once I describe it like that, I don't understand how anybody could not appreciate that. It could have been recorded better. You know, I didn't have Jay-Z's studio was booked. I couldn't get in. That was my piece on that.
All right, so you heard it here. We right here on the ground live in Roxbury. You know what I'm saying? My man Jamarhl Crawford, Uno the Prophet, hip-hop legend, longtime activist, definitely a scholar.
Legend stretching it.
And, you know, it's an honor and a privilege to definitely have his time. You know what I'm saying? To be able to occupy some of his time for him to be able to convey his views for the edification of the people. So we're definitely grateful and much respect. That hand, get it fixed. Revolutionary time, you better get ready. These crackers is training. So, but we ain't done yet. We still getting around the city. So we got a couple of more installments for y'all right out here on the ground live in Boston. I want to give a shout out, you know what I'm saying, to my Uncle Cash once again. Hip hop legend.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Turntablist, rapper, graffiti artist, you name it, he did it. He was hip hop to the fullest.
That's right.
Shout out to Uncle Cash and long live the legend. All right, until the next time, peace and black power. We out.
Peace.
Fire every time.
Yes, sir.